What's up guys, Truman here, welcome back to another video, and I'm gonna do my usual thing of attempting to finish a sentence before I literally cook like a potato in a car with no air conditioning, but quite frankly it doesn't matter if it had air conditioning, because if I turned it on it would come through the microphone and then we couldn't record it. So today I'm going to try and really talk about a subject which really grinds my gears, and something that I talked about in my previous episodes, whereby I was talking about the curse of the high IQ and why having a high IQ is actually very, very difficult to deal with for multiple situations, and the different misconceptions about being smart. This idea that you have everything easy and that you sort of lord it and that you tend to lord it over people. And on that last note, that will also be something else, is that I have noticed that it's a constant struggle not to develop a superiority complex to people around me, and especially in things during like this whole pandemic thing and a lot of other stuff that's happened. It's very difficult for me, and it's not just me, a lot of people, just when you see all these Karens running around telling people how to live, it's like, it's very difficult to be like, you are like an inferior human. But that's just one of the struggles of being a human being in general. But one of the main things that I wanted to talk about is during this whole journey and really looking at how so many people like to go one direction. And what was it? There was that quote from Socrates that, like, if you want to be wrong, I don't know, I can't remember if it was Socrates. It was a famous philosopher. If you want to be wrong, follow the crowd. And that has been pretty much true throughout most of human history, is that if you want to be wrong, just follow what everyone else is doing. And the issue is, especially when it comes to defining yourself as an individual, an individual unit in a society full of people who are telling you what to do, what to think, and where to go, is how the hell do I carve out my own sense of self in all of this craziness? And am I even willing to be able to, and brave enough and strong enough to be able to do so? Because unfortunately the vast majority of people could not handle the realities of life, and so they will numb themselves with cigarettes, with alcohol, with all sorts of other things. Not only that, but they will numb themselves with approval from others. They will like to feel like they're doing well because they agree with the neighbors, they're keeping up with the Joneses, they're following what everyone else in the Facebook group says, and all this other crap, simply because the vast majority of people are not actually ready to live. Really live. And this whole, take addictions for example, because it's currently something that I'm doing. I've realized that the vast majority of people are not strong enough to face reality sober. Like the vast majority of people. And it's actually kind of astounding. And you may think, oh, well, I don't drink, I don't smoke. Yeah, well, you probably eat junk food. And you probably eat junk food throughout the whole day, as many top-ups. And what happens? When's the last time you've gone without doing your habits? If you think you're some pro who oh no, I don't rely on anything, try changing your lifestyle radically. Try going into a cabin in the woods for a week with none of your old comforts and see how long you last. And then we'll see what was your opium, what was the drug that kept you from actually properly living, because that's the standard state of human beings these days. Is that our lives, and this is an unfortunate fact, our lives have become so miserable that we need to medicate ourselves to be able to handle it. And so this is why I find and there's a lot to unpack there. One of them is that when you actually do, and this is related to becoming a better person, finding your purpose, becoming a better man, this, that, and the other, is that when you actually do go down that path of attempting to experience more of reality without the blinders and blinkers of cigarettes or arse or whatever the hell drug that you've chosen, that people will revolt against you. People will naturally find reasons and ways and excuses as to why to sabotage you, why to bring you down. And it's an isolating path. The path to being a centered man is a very isolated thing. This is why I think the stereotype of the hermit is so apt. Here's someone who has just embraced so many of the intricacies of life, but the only way that he or she could do that was by isolating themselves from the rest of the society, because the rest of society just wants to keep pushing you in one direction. How long have we gone? 5 minutes, okay. They just want to keep pushing you in one direction. They don't want you to find out who you are and do the actual necessary hard work to be able to do that. And the thing is, it comes from everyone. This is why it's like, no one wants you to be free. I've said this on numerous occasions, that most of the people that you know, to a greater or lesser extent, will attempt to hold you back from becoming a better person. Either it's your girlfriend who likes it when you're fat, or it's your parents who like it when you want to do a job that they agree with, or, you know, you want to pursue a career in what you agree with. Or it's your co-workers who will drink and you all of a sudden you want to stop drinking and then they're like, oh, come on, man, blah, blah, blah. No one wants you to be free. No one wants you to be free. Maybe your closest and best friends do. Maybe your cat does. Who knows? They're evil and fiercely intelligent. I actually prefer cats. But no one wants you to be free. And it's sad, but it's kind of... I'm actually at the point of my self-development where it's like, you've gone so far into the darkness that you can appreciate the stuff that's just absolutely crazy. And that just makes... And it's just like, wow, like, this is actually reality. And this is where the trying not to develop a superiority complex comes into this, because when you truly go down that path and consider the implications of becoming a better man, you realize that the vast majority of people that you know are garbage. I'm sorry if this is shocking to you, but the vast majority of people around you are totally unnecessary to your life. Like, totally unnecessary. But when you juxtapose that with the amount that we give a crap of what other people think of us, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why is it that if 80, 90, even 95% of the people that I meet are totally irrelevant to me becoming a better person, do I care so much about what they think? Do I care so much about their opinions? Do I care so much about the way how I should live my life based on their perceptions? Because their perceptions, quite frankly, in this regard, are absolute bullshit. There's absolutely no reason why I should take the opinions of someone who has no idea what my life is going through, or has any idea of what path I'm taking. Why the hell should I take them seriously? But we do on numerous occasions. And the frickin' Alan Watts Zen Buddhist, like, fall on your ass and laugh at something. Part of this is that most people that you meet are totally irrelevant. Like, I'm sorry, but that's my lungs cleaning out all that gunk. They're totally irrelevant. They got totally irrelevant to your life. And the older you get, the more you realize that. Especially, this is why, like, when you look back at when you're 18, 19, you think, wow, I believed a lot of crazy BS. One was that you actually knew anything about what you were talking about. One is that the news was real. I mean, okay, where am I going with this? Because I feel like I'm kind of rambling. Self-actualization is lonely. But if you're feeling lonely, it means that you're doing it right. You're not self-actualizing yourself if everyone bloody agrees with what you're doing. If everyone bloody agrees with what you're saying. You're not becoming a better, more unique person if, like, the news agrees with you. It's meant to be a lonely process. Really, it's meant to be a lonely process. And you will go through these situations where you feel like the whole world is bleeding insane. And I still do. But ultimately, you're still just a human being. And I think for me, it was recognizing that our society and our culture has been taken over by this phantom shadow that seems to be directing people into this, you know, in like away from connection, away from light, away from logic, away from everything, into its exact opposite, where, you know, with doctors, what was it, the quote, doctors destroy health, universities destroy knowledge, news destroys truth, and it's the opposite land at the moment. But the only way to get out of that is to go through the long and lonely and self-isolating process of self-actualization. But the good news is, if you can do it, then you will all of a sudden look at all those people who laughed at you and say, wow, your life sucks. Because that's exactly how I feel right now. All those people who looked down at me from beforehand, 2 of them are dead. And the rest of them are sick, or I can clearly see that their lives are not doing very well. And I think back to all the times when they laughed at what I was doing and this, that, and the other, and it's like, well, you're no longer on this mortal coil. I guess I win. It's not meant to be like, oh, hey, like, I don't feel good about it. But it's like, you don't need to do anything about the people who don't believe in you. They will all suffer at the hands of their own karma. If you believe in God, God will deal with them. Karma will deal with them. You know, they're walking down a cliff. They're walking off of a cliff. And I'll leave you with this quote. is if you ever find yourself getting too invested in the bullshit of others that you know is bullshit, just recognize that everyone exists in their own personal hell. The key to being happy is to not learn how to not join them in it. And by you not joining them doesn't make their hell any better or worse. Their hell is their hell. They have to deal with that. It's got nothing to do with you. And the need and the urge to try and correct them and feel like, oh, you're wrong, you need to do that. That's pulling you into their hell. That's all that's doing. It's not making their lives any better or worse. It's just putting you straight down into their hell. But anyway, I've been talking for long enough. NoFap Day, I don't bloody know. I'll put it in the title if I even do that. And peace.